Well, hello, it's Kirsten Liebelt. How are you doing Wednesday night? It's so good to see you guys. I'm so glad that you are jumping on and we get to chat for just a minute. Just a minute. Welcome, you guys. Welcome in. It's good to see you. So, tonight, what I wanted to do was, I've been doing the challenge this week. If you don't know, there's a 5-day challenge. It's free. It's in the Facebook group, and I've been working on that this week. And we kind of chunk it out, little day at a time. And every single month we do this free 5-day challenge. And I do it so that, like, at the beginning of the month, you can like take down that month. And then you get to the beginning of the next month and you can take down that month, and then et cetera, right? So that you can like compound your efforts and get to the place where you are finally like you could be at the end of 2024 and be like, wow, like I understood insulin resistance enough so that I could finally lose weight, so that I could finally not be afraid of like what's around the corner, all of those pieces. And so this came to me today that, you know what, it's really helpful to understand why certain things work so that you commit to maybe a higher level. Because listen, I understand, I know these things. This is what I know. A lot of people have supplement drawers that look just like their makeup drawers. Am I right? Does your supplement drawer, that's maybe what I should have titled it. Does your supplement drawer look like your makeup drawer? You may already have stuff in your cupboard right now that could be helping you with insulin resistance. Did you even know that? Like, let's do that tonight. Okay. So I'm trying to remember, what did we talk about a couple of days ago? Oh, I was talking about being grain-free and sugar-free, and that's why I don't ache. So tonight I wanted to come on and just talk about some basic supplementation and why do you even go out and buy a basic supplement? Why do you have stuff in your cupboard? And like, how could that even help you? And most people don't talk about supplements in links in connection to insulin resistance. Like, a lot of people don't. So let's do that. All right. So if you don't know who I am at all, you've never seen my face before, that's totally cool. My name is Kirsten Liebelt, and I turned back around my own insulin resistance when I was in my 40s. I knew nothing about supplementation, about food. I only knew about like being Italian, and my dad had died of type 2 diabetes when he was 63. So that's kind of the driver of a lot of my conversations with people. And I know that women, let's just chat as girls, it gets really frustrating when we feel like we aren't being heard. And oftentimes when we don't feel like we're being heard, what happens is a lot of that, there's a lot of shame that's attached to that. And, you know, I somebody said this a while back, and I agree with it, that, you know, it's really hard to heal a body in shame. So we talk about that actually a lot in the Facebook group, or I try to, because I feel like that's a key to really help people, and let's like really help. So anyway, so 3 supplements that you probably already have in your cupboard. Okay. And then if you need to know, and so, you know, when I talk about the trio all the time, the trio are the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And I talk about them all the time because the results are just amazing. If you're on Instagram, I already have like a highlight bubble of testimonies in there that are at the top. It's a highlight bubble at the top. And if you're in the Facebook group already and you're just listening in right now, but you're already in the Facebook group, you know what I'm talking about. At the very top in the guides, there's a little folder of some of the testimonies. It's not exhausted, but it's a testimonial hub for you. But I want to add to that tonight, because when you do go on my website, you'll see the section isn't just the trio. There are a few others a part of the list. So anytime during this, if you want to drop the word list, I can come back and I can get you information on that if that's what you need. Just to let you know, on Instagram, you have to message me. You can't put it in here when I'm live because I can't see it. All right. I mean, I see it, it won't save. So, all right. So if you're on Facebook, we're good to go. Anyway, so the first one that I wanted to talk to you about actually is fish oil. And did you know that could actually be helping you with your insulin resistance? And a lot of people don't know that. Hold on, I got to find my marker. I have a marker here. Hold on just a second. Here we go. So fish oil, and you want good fish oil. Please don't buy. If I say the word crappy, will I get bleeped out? I do in my stories. If I say crap, it bleeps me out. Don't get crappy fish oil, you guys. Just like when you go to, hi, Anna, good to see you. Just like when you go to the store and you're buying, like, let's say shrimp or salmon or whatever, like you want wild caught for a reason. You want really good. It's the same thing with your fish oil. You don't now want to go and take fish oil that's concentrated and bad. Like, we don't want concentrated anything if it's a poor source, if it has metals, if it has, things that are not good. Like, one of the things that I recently found out was that, like, shrimp, when it's farmed, it could be farmed in the ocean in these big batches that are so filled with disease they have to use a lot of chemicals to keep it clean. Chemicals to keep it clean, and then it's really bad for you. So you want wild caught. So anyway, I'm just making that as a notation. I always want you to have a little bit of extra information on there. So, and the fish oil, of course, that I talk about is wild caught. But anyway, so it has anti-inflammatory effects, which is the very basis of all of the issues when we're talking about insulin resistance. So high insulin is high inflammation. And sometimes when you're studying different pieces, the question is, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did the inflammation start first, or did the insulin resistance, the high insulin, create the inflammation? I think the answer is both. Now, remember, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just saying, like, we do hear a lot of information about how seed oils create so much inflammation in the body, and we need to get this inflammation to go away. Like, this is causing all of the issues. Inflammation is at the core of disease. So let's get our inflammation to come down. And so anti-inflammatory when it comes to fish oil, they actually talk about an enhanced glucose metabolism with a good fish oil. That's crazy. I mean, who knows this? Reduced fat accumulation. Very interesting. Decreased oxidative stress, improved endothelial function, and something with genes and too. So lots of good benefits with fish oil that include inflammation and glucose metabolism, both things that should make our ears go, that's really interesting, and I want to make sure I get a good fish oil. All right, the second one is actually vitamin D. Y'all probably have vitamin D in your D3 in your cupboards. Let me know in the comments below if you have vitamin D in your cupboards already. I mean, that's kind of really common, right? We know that we have to be, can we eat bread? Sherry, that's such a good question. No. I don't know. You can do whatever you want, Sherry. I do teach, just so that people know, I teach completely grain-free, sugar-free, because you have to fix what got you into the pickle to begin with. When you are insulin resistant, your life needs to shift. However, having said that, when you go to, Instagram, I have such an issue with you, such an issue, because I can't have you drop words. I can't have you drop words because then I won't see them. I'm reconnecting. Hold on. I got a phone call. So hold on. I can't drop words because then they will, they'll go away. So you need to, so far so good. 2 out of 3. That's wonderful, Mary. You have to message me. Okay. You can always message me, DM me list, or drop list over here if you want my list of the supplements. Okay. But I'm telling you that because also to them, when you get on my site, there's a tutorial on how to make the egg white bread, the egg white protein powder bread. And if you've never done that, actually I put out a reel tonight on making that recipe into danishes. It's so good. So I do completely grain-free, sugar-free. It is, in my opinion, by far the best way to go. So let's see here. Hold on. I'm just going to write that down. Okay. So 2 out of 3, you're doing good. Okay. I'm really excited about that. So that's my answer for bread, just FYI. So vitamin D, but let's talk about why vitamin D is super helpful for insulin resistance. Okay. So fish oil was number 1. Make sure you get a good one. You want it to be wild caught, even in your supplements. Okay. Number 2, vitamin D, obviously your bone health. Hold on just a second. I touched my thing, so just a second. Here we go. Regulation of insulin secretion. So vitamin D plays a role in the regulation of insulin secretion by pancreatic beta cells. Adequate vitamin D levels are necessary for proper insulin production and release. Who knows this stuff? Like, I didn't know this. This is so cool, which helps maintain stable blood sugar levels. And that is what we want, right? That is what we want. Improvement of insulin sensitivity. There's a reason why I have on my list a good fish oil, a good vitamin D. These have a purpose. Regulation of insulin secretion, insulin sensitivity. It can enhance insulin sensitivity in peripheral tissues, such as skeletal muscle and adipose tissue. Improved insulin sensitivity allows cells to respond more effectively to insulin, facilitating glucose uptake from the bloodstream. And remember, we're always talking about glucose uptake when it comes to certain weight loss meds, right? Glucose uptake, that's a common conversation that we're having. So vitamin D can help that. And remember, when your cell is insulin resistant, it's saying no to the insulin, bringing the fuel into it. So that's why you end up having high insulin. So you need your cell to become more sensitive so that it can actually receive the insulin and the fuel. Okay. Vitamin D, reduction of inflammation. It possesses anti-inflammatory properties that can help reduce chronic low-grade inflammation, which is associated with insulin resistance. By decreasing inflammation, vitamin D may improve insulin sensitivity and glucose metabolism. There's that word again. We love the word glucose metabolism. If you're insulin resistant, listen, if your insulin is high, your sugars are high, you're stuck and you can't lose weight. That's the most frustrating part. Like in our world, all we want usually is that we want to lose the weight, right? I mean, that's kind of like our big conversation. Even though we understand, like in our brains, we really do want to deal with our insulin resistance because we don't want it to turn into type 2. Or if we are type 2, we don't want to increase our meds. My dad was on double doses of insulin injections, and his insulin resistance level of type 2 diabetes, that was, heart issues and kidney dialysis issues, your body just wears out and can't handle that, right? So wherever we are, usually we know these things like logistically in our brains, but the truth is that what we really, kind of want first sometimes is that weight loss. So anything that has to do with glucose metabolism, helping our insulin sensitivity, bringing down our insulin, bringing down our sugars so that we can actually lose the weight, that's what we're looking for. Let's see if it has anything else in there that we really want to know about. So management of body composition, that's very interesting. So vitamin D deficiency. Listen to this. Yeah, I take a vitamin D every day. The one that's on my site is like, it's ridiculously inexpensive. It's 90 tablets, and I only take, so that's 3 months worth, and I only take one a day. I forget what it is, like 30 cents a day. It's crazy. And it's not synthetic. It's sourced from mushrooms. But my point being that, so when you are, and I've done this forever, I take 2000 IUs or 50 micromilligrams every single day. And I think that what drove me to start taking vitamin D is that I live in Minnesota. And so in the winter, when we go into the winter months, we definitely want that mood enhancer. We definitely don't want to feel like we are under it. And we also want that immunity because, as we know, there was this thingamajigger going around in 2020 that, was very frustrating. Anna, you received your women's vitamins. Oh my gosh. And your purple packet and your balanced probiotic. Yay. Good for you, Anna. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. You're such a good girl, Anna. You're just going to get yourself all fixed up. That's what you're doing. So I took vitamin D. Like, I always started things for reasons that I kind of like, I don't know, that really weren't connected to insulin resistance. And then I reverse engineer everything. So anyway, but listen to this one. If you are vitamin D deficient, vitamin D deficiency has been associated with obesity. I haven't seen that on an ad recently. Not even close. In fact, they tell us to stay out of the sun. Associated with obesity, which is a risk factor for insulin resistance, adequate vitamin D levels may help regulate body composition and adipose tissue function, contributing to improved insulin sensitivity. You guys, basic things. So far, we've talked about a fish oil, a good fish oil, wild caught, and a good vitamin D, something that's not synthetic. Maybe you already have those in your cupboard. I don't know. And then the third one is zinc. You guys, this one is super interesting. So a lot of people probably already have zinc in their cupboard because of immunity conversations that we've had now for a few years. I need to move this. This is bugging me. There we go. Because zinc has become a little more commonplace in our conversations, which is really, really good. But this is why. So zinc plays several important roles in insulin function and glucose metabolism, making it beneficial for managing insulin resistance. So why it's on my list. My list of 5. I have a list of, do I have a list of 5? 3, 4. I think it's a list of 5. I'm trying to think of how it goes, but the trio is its own set. But anyway, and I'm just telling you, like, everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. Insulin. So this is zinc. Insulin synthesis and secretion. Zinc is involved in the synthesis, storage, and secretion of insulin by pancreatic beta cells. Adequate zinc levels are necessary for proper formation of insulin granules and the release of insulin in response to elevated blood sugar levels. Amazing information. Insulin sensitivity. Zinc helps to improve the sensitivity in peripheral tissues such as skeletal muscle, liver, adipose tissue. Enhanced insulin sensitivity allows cells to respond. They're not so blocked off. They respond more effectively to insulin, facilitating glucose uptake and utilization, which helps regulate blood sugar levels. Antioxidant defense, glucose transport. This is interesting. Zinc is involved in the regulation of glucose transporters such as GLUT4, which play a crucial role in transporting glucose into the cells by modulating glucose transporter activity. Zinc helps facilitate glucose uptake into cells, promoting better glucose metabolism. I love this stuff. I am such a geek. I never knew any of this stuff. I was so not into any of this. But then I think what is the basis of my excitement and passion is that I feel like God already gave us all of these answers, and we just have to share the answers with people. We just have to tell people that there are ways that you could, like, our bodies are so fearfully and wonderfully made. Like, they are freaking amazing. And when you just help them deal with deficiencies, sometimes it's that easy to kind of help get things moving along a little bit. And don't get me wrong, you do have to learn a new language of food, because once you're insulin resistant, you do have to fix what got you to the pickle to begin with. But you know what? It was not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And so that's what the Facebook group is all about. And so when you ask for the list and you get on my site, there's a Facebook blue button there too. You can jump in there too, and we'll talk about food. I'm going to do a recipe on Friday, and I already know what I'm going to do. Can you take them all together any special time of day? Holly, that's a great question. So, and Anna, hold on. I'm going to read that in just a second. That's amazing. Can you take them all together any special time of day? You can, but vitamin D is fat soluble. So you definitely want to take vitamin D with food, okay? Because you need that in order for it to do what it needs to do. And, my D3 it's with K2. You need to have K2 with that, but it's common. That's not like abnormal. Anna says that her sugars went from 190 to 85. That's amazing, Anna. That is amazing. You're welcome, Holly. Deborah, send the trio again. Okay. Yep. Afterwards, I'll just whatever. I'll get you my site. Is there anything else? Yep. The women's vitamin has them all. Yep. You are correct, because it has a CalMag D in there. Okay. Make sure I'm not missing anything here, because you never know. You have to give up your peanut butter banana sandwich. Sherry, I'm sure you said that a while ago, but yeah. But you know what I do, Sherry, is I take the egg white protein powder bread, and I either use a banana extract with it, or I do that a lot. Banana extract in the bread, in the egg white mixture, and then you can layer it with like cinnamon and brown sugar. And so there are other things that you can do to replace, because you're not giving up the foods that you love. That's a really big deal for people to understand, because when you're a foodie, like I thought I had to stop being a foodie, but you don't. You just trade out the ingredients to the foods that you already love, right? So you can prep your body. That's what we talk about with the trio all the time. When you can target, like with an arrow, you can target your supplementation to make your body function at a higher level. You can bring down your insulin, you can bring down your sugars, and then you can finally lose that weight, right? But then now these are some a little bit more generic vitamins that I'm talking about tonight. The fish oil, the vitamin D, and the zinc. Those are kind of a little more generic in their thought process, but they all have a purpose. So they're not as targeted, but they're some of those foundational pieces that people don't even know that they should be adding in if they aren't using them already. It's amazing. You can't believe it. You go back to your doctor in June 12th. Oh, Anne, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see what she is going to tell you. Yep. I'm very excited for you. Very excited. That's really, really cool. That makes my heart so happy. That's what this is all about. The testimonies are phenomenal. I will have a great night, Julie, if you're still on. Thank you. You're swimming in melatonin and magnesium. You are freaking hilarious. I'll say, which zinc do you suggest? You know what? You can go to on Instagram. My site is actually on my profile. And there's a second button, and it will say targeted supplements, including the trio. The zinc is right there. It's right on that list. It's on the 5 list. So you can look and see. And again, you do. And I'm going to tell you now, let me tell you about the partner with the zinc in the zinc that I take every day. It's mixed with an adaptogenic herb. Have you ever heard of the adaptogenic herb, holy basil? I would love to know if anybody has ever heard of holy basil, because the zinc that I take is connected with holy basil. So it's not just a straight zinc. So the fish is wild caught. The vitamin D is sourced from mushrooms. It's not synthetic. You want things to be absorbed into your body. And then the zinc is mixed with holy basil. And let me tell you what holy basil does in connection to insulin resistance. Let me see here. So holy basil. Never heard of it. Yeah, I know, Anna. And it's not maybe as common, right? A lot of the adaptogenic herbs, maybe ashwagandha, somebody would have heard of that maybe. But holy basil is another one, and it's really good for upper respiratory. So what they did as a company is they released the zinc and holy basil in September of 2020. Because holy basil is really good zinc is good for your general contracting immune system. And then all of these things that we're talking about with insulin resistance, and really good for your immune system. And then holy basil is good for upper respiratory. And what were we dealing with in 2020? So that's this wonderful blend. But let me tell you what it does in terms of insulin resistance, because I feel like this would be very helpful. You know, Sherry, I don't know anything about those. I really, really don't. I don't know anything about the company that does those. So, oh, you know, Christy knows holy basil. Yay. Okay, I'm going to read about that. So I don't know, Sherry, but you can, I really do recommend go and check out the ones on my list. My list is in my profile link. Okay, holy basil, blood sugar regulation. This is huge. Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome, Omisha. So blood sugar regulation, holy basil may help regulate blood sugar levels by promoting glucose uptake and utilization in cells, enhancing insulin sensitivity, and inhibiting the breakdown of carbohydrates into glucose. Studies suggest that holy basil extract may lower fasting blood sugar levels and improve glucose tolerance, which are beneficial for managing insulin resistance. Also has anti-inflammatory effects, stress reduction, and enhanced liver function. And remember, when I talk about the trio, one of the supplements in the trio helps the liver. We talk about this a lot in the Facebook group, because your liver literally is your fat metabolizing organ. Like if you're trying to lose weight, you want your liver functioning. So the trio is the basis of everything that I kind of talk about. And then I'm filling in with these, which creates a list. So on Facebook, not on Instagram, but on Facebook, you can always put list and I'll get you that information after I jump off. But the full list thought process is so helpful because if you could get your body, if you could take like if you needed power steering fluid in your vehicle and you poured power steering fluid into, whatever container that is under your hood, because I don't know. And all of a sudden your power steering worked better. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, right? That's what we want. It's the same thing with your body. So when you begin to use supplementation that actually breaks down in your system, that actually has proper dosing, that actually does have an effect on how things are going, that's how you end up with the testimonies that I end up coming and telling you about every single Friday, because it's like Anna just said, her sugars went from 190 down to 85. You actually want results, right? Anna, you're so sweet. You are so sweet. So anyway, so that's kind of, what I wanted to say about that so the zinc has the holy basil. That was a fourth ingredient, but it's only the third supplement. And so there you go. So those are the three supplements. You may already have some in your cupboard, but if you don't, plus you've lost 10 pounds, Anna, can I put you on my Friday testimonial list? Anna, you're so good. I'm so excited. 10 pounds lost. I just got another 10-pound lost testimonial, and she said she had been on a cruise. 190 down to 18 down to 85. That's amazing. Anna, are those morning sugars for you? When are those sugars for you? Because the morning sugars can be the stinker for people. Oftentimes it's that dawn phenomenon. Thank you, Anna. You're so sweet. Yeah, I'd like to know if that's your morning sugars. It is your morning sugars. That's amazing. But you have also, too, you've adopted so many good pantry trade outs, and you've been cooking much better, too. You're fixing. Yep, morning. That's amazing. So morning sugars, it's called dawn phenomenon. And even Dr. Eric Berg would talk about how when you are working to get your morning sugars to be better, it can take up to a year to heal your body. And when you are trying to get your blood pressure under control, it could take a year because it's a healing process. I think that what, has been so amazing in my world is that because I'm the only one that avoided type 2 in my family, but those who are type 2 and not necessarily always, and it remains 83 all day long. That's amazing. That's amazing. I just took notes on that, Anna. The type 2 diabetic customers that I end up connecting with, when they've been on medication for a long period of time, and again, I'm not a doctor, so they're doing this on their own and then they're assessing themselves, because you have to know how to assess yourself. Because when supplements actually work and your blood sugars go down, you don't want them to go too low. And so one of the testimonies is that within 2.5 months, she not only, and it was a long journey for 3 years to get to this point where she just could not get her weight to budge. And so she started the trio back in September. But one of the results was that her morning blood sugars went from 185 down to the 150s. And she just could not even believe it. But it goes hand in hand. It's a sister connection. Blood sugars go down. She loses 14 pounds and she's like, what? Because that's what happens when your sugars are high, your insulin is high, you can't lose weight, you're stuck. So that's why the weight loss, you don't have to be type 2 for this conversation at all. You only have to be insulin resistant, right? And so for you to say, Anna, that you've gone from 190 down to 85 in your sugars in the morning, and you've lost 10 pounds, that's stunning. I don't know anybody who is checking their sugars that don't want those results. Yeah. Yes, it happened to you. You thank God every day that he sent you to TikTok and you connected with me. I love that, Anna. You're so sweet. I'm telling you, I love the simplicity of conversation that we can have around insulin resistance. I love this conversation. I used to be concerned about it because, again, I'm not a doctor and I'm not type 2. I avoided it, but I avoided it because this was 13 years ago. I didn't start this last week. 13 years ago, as a person who never took supplements, I started taking targeted supplements for my sugars. And it completely changed. Like when you're on a train track, and you push the lever and the track goes a different direction. That's what happened with me. And then I spent time working on my foods. And so I get to talk about that a lot in the Facebook group and help people to understand how to trade out ingredients and still love the foods that you eat. And it's all very, very good. So if you are on Instagram, please DM me or wait until I post the video tonight and come back and put list. If you want to know the list of the 5 supplements that I'm talking about, we went over 3 of them tonight. But if you want that list, if you're on Facebook, you can already just put list, or if you're on YouTube, you can put list, because then I'll be able to see that it stays there forever, so I can come and see that. But again, you definitely, if you are already taking certain things and they aren't working for you, you might want to chat with me, because maybe they are synthetic or they're just not breaking down in your body. Or if you have any questions about insulin resistance, or you want to know how to get into the Facebook group, or you just need a little bit, like there's some reason why you're still listening to me right now and you're thinking, I really do just need to find out what is this track that she's talking about, as far as food and stuff, because I'm telling you, it makes a really big difference. And I did not give up the foods that I love. I just learned the tricks and the tips to trade them out. And I used a lot of information like from a Maria Emmerich, who is super creative. So it's not too late to jump in the Facebook group, and then you can watch the replays from Monday, Tuesday, and today. And then I'll be back on live tomorrow and on Friday. And on Friday, we're making food. So you might not want to miss it. But anyway, so, oh yeah, one more question. Can you eat fruit? So what I do for fruit sherry, that's a very good question. I love that a lot. I feel like a lot of people, what happens is, number one, everybody's on a different level of spectrum where they are with their insulin resistance. And so a lot of people can do different things. Some people are like, oh, I'm barely insulin resistant and I have a little belly fat. But most people are like a little further along. So what I do for fruit is I only do berries. Only do berries. It'll keep you in ranges that you will appreciate for sure. And my dad would sit around and eat oranges and bananas. And he was type 2 insulin dependent diabetic. Really bad idea. Because again, once you're insulin resistant, your path is different. And so it's not about balance, and it's not about the food pyramid that you were taught in kindergarten. That is a food pyramid created by agricultural industry, the agricultural industry. It was not created by the medical board. So that's my answer to that. I only do berries. So Anna, you're not diabetic, but your mom is. And you're trying to not go that way. Good girl. You're going to do it. You're totally going to do it. I see your list, Kim. I see that. I'll come back and get that for you. Absolutely. You will, because you've already set your intention. And I already know the work that you've done behind the scenes, because Anna will send me pictures of things she's making. So it's not hard to love what you do when people send you pictures of things that they're making, and how they're excited about their journey and the testimonies. Like I get to wake up to that. So I really do love it. But that's why you're going to be successful, Anna. It's an automatic, in my opinion. Of course, I cannot make any guarantees for anything, but I'm just saying your actions are going to produce really good results, because you're very aware. You're very aware, and you're going to help a lot of people. You're going to help a lot of people in your own culture. You're going to help a lot of people. That's very exciting. So anyway, all right. Anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to jump off. I actually have a meeting here in 15 minutes that I have to attend to. You're welcome, Anna. You're so sweet. You're so sweet. Let's see if I'm missing anything. I want to make sure. It's always so fun to come and chat on Friday. I'm not sure what time I will come. and chat, but I would want to bring the testimonies of the week. Testimonies that people are, I do avoid all potatoes, Christy. Good question. But see, now that was a part of my journey too. So when I decided to trade out my foods in my 50s, after I had stopped my cycle and fat was piling on in places I wasn't very appreciative of, because that's what happens. I'm glad your granddaughter is loving the food and your daughter is losing weight. Oh, Anna, you're changing your family's history. Yeah, oranges, grapes, and bananas, all very high, Sherry. Very, very high. So when I traded out my foods, I thought, okay, fine. I'll stop processed foods as much as I can. This was my first step. And I would reward myself with like sweet potatoes or, sweet potato fries or whatever. I had to completely shift everything because again, when you are insulin resistant, and you eat something that spikes your sugars and your pancreas releases insulin to grab that fuel and try to get it into your cell and it can't, all of that extra fuel gets turned to fat because insulin is a fat storing hormone. So if you don't want to live on your hamster wheel of not being able to lose weight no matter how hard you try, you have to eliminate the things that are spiking your sugars. That's why it's important for some people have to have a glucose meter so that they know. Some people, you just know by trial and error, when you're stalling out your weight loss. And it's frustrating, but it's good information for you to have in your pocket. It's very good information. But yeah, and my dad did the same thing. He ate very high sugared fruits for years and years. And he followed the standard American diet in advice, which was, Cheerios is heart healthy. No, it's not. It's the opposite. Don't eat that. Don't do that. That was so between the cereals and the skim milk, because you're told to go low fat. The sugar spiking is way too much. It's way too much. And when you are type 2 diabetic, or you're heading that way and you don't want to be on that train, you have to shift what you're doing. There is no other option. Now, I did use carb blocker, and I do have that on my site too. But I did use carb blocker for a long time, where when you go to eat something, it'll block up to 500 calories of sugar from entering your bloodstream. And I would have carb blocker in my pockets for a long time because, again, I knew nothing. Poster child for knowing nothing. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about supplements. I didn't know anything about eating properly. I didn't know any of that. And so the part of that was, are you talking about my dad, Sherry? My dad actually passed away like 29 years ago. He was 63 and I was 30. So I was super young and I should have done something about my sugars at the time and I didn't. So I learned a lot from having watched his life go just downhill. And then I asked the question when he died, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, he has this lazy Susan full of medication. Isn't modern medicine like amazing? And shouldn't it heal? Shouldn't it reverse? Shouldn't it do something positive? And it took me a really long time to realize, oh, that's not the purpose of modern meds. That's not its purpose. However, in complete contrast to that, most all the time, and again, I don't have any letters after my name, but what I am finding out from the actual testimonies of people is that most all of the time they are simple little deficiencies that can tweak and can move you forward with your insulin resistance. Or like, for instance, sometimes, certainly not all the time, because I don't know it in depth, but sometimes somebody who's having issues with their thyroid, they're deficient in iodine. So get on a women's multivitamin, a good one that'll actually break down in your system. Do simple things, and you just might be surprised at some of the results. But anyway, so that's kind of where that goes. But that's a really good question. All of those questions are really good. You guys are awesome. So Anyway, all right, I'm going to jump off. I'm going to jump on a Zoom for a meeting. And it was really great to chat with you guys. What a good night. Again, Instagram, wait until I load and then come back and put list in the comments. And I'll get you information on the list of supplements that I have been taking, still take to this day. And, that way you can be, just look for something that's actually going to work in your body as opposed to something that doesn't even break down. You don't want that. So, all right. You guys have a wonderful night. Be super blessed. And I'll be back on Friday with the testimonies of the trio. So we'll chat very soon. Let's see if I can get it. I have to touch it.